of it was Kiryat Sefer. Anyway, okay, we're back online? Okay, so let me finish Mitch's question, then we'll come back to yours. So that's the first issue. So therefore, for Achsa, it's worthwhile. This is the best shidduch for Achsa. But B'chlal, where's the whole inyan of marrying someone off based on this? So the Gemara Bracha says that a person who's mesameach a chassan and kala, a person who gives joy to a chassan and kala, will be merited with what? The ability to understand Torah in a deeper way. That's the reward. If you give joy to a chassan and kala, Hashem will reward you that you will be able to learn Torah in a much deeper way. So, and the reason for that, because it says by the giving of the Torah at Sinai, when God was at the mountain and giving the Torah to us, it mentions the word kol, voice, of Hashem 5 times. It says 5 times. In the Sheva Brachas, when it talks about the word kol, sason, v'kol simcha, kol chason, v'kol kala, kol mitzalos, it says 5 times the word kol by Sheva Brachas. So you see, it says 5 times kol by a wedding, 5 times kol by giving it the Torah at Sinai. So you see, there's got to be a connection between them. So the connection is a person who gives joy to a chassan and kala will also merit to understand Torah deeply. So that's very nice connection on a technical level. But what's the on a deeper level? How are the two connected at all? So the answer on a simple level is, well, Sinai was the marriage of the Jews to Hashem. So therefore, so there's similarities between the marriage of the Jewish people to Hashem to the marriage of husband and wife. But to understand it deeper than that, the idea of kol, which I've spoken about in the past, the idea being, what's the idea of kol? Kol, a voice. What's a voice? A voice it's not words. Words is dvarim. Dvarim are words. Kol is a voice. And the idea of a kol is to be able to hear that which is more than what the words are saying. More than what the words are saying. And that's an important concept. And you look at words, and you got what the words say. But then to be able to dig beneath that and to understand the background, the circumstance of which the words are coming, and then you have tone, inflection, and things like that, clearly there is deeper meanings than what the words are saying alone. So again, on a very simple level, a husband comes home and he says to the wife, how are things there? How was your day? So she goes, oh, just great. Like that. So the husband says, oh, wonderful. What's for dinner? Okay? So that husband has a lot of trouble listening to the call. Okay? So, so that's not good. So what the rabbis are saying is there's a tremendous connection between marriage and Torah. It's a tremendous connection in the concept of marriage and Torah. The truth of the matter is, when we say Eishes Chayil Miyimtza, so as much as people think it is an ode to the Jewish woman, I'm sorry to disappoint many Jewish women, it really is not. Okay? It is only an analogy. King Solomon was using the analogy of the Jewish woman, but really it is an ode to the Torah. I'm not going to get into it now, but it's an ode to the Torah. It's the blessings of the Torah, how great the Torah is and what the Torah can do. Now, a Jewish wife can have similar attributes to that. Can have similar attributes to that, and it could also, but really the truth is, the woman is only used as the mashal, as the allegory to the real depth of who we are honoring, which is the Torah, which obviously makes sense to honor coming to Shabbos. Not taking anything away from the Jewish woman, by the way, because the fact that God used the Jewish woman as an allegory means she represents, in a physical way that's easier to understand, what the depth and the beauty of Torah is. Trying to understand the depth of Torah and how amazing Torah is. So whenever it's a hard concept to explain, you give an easier one as an allegory. She says, well, look at any good Jewish woman of valor, and you see how they behave. Now you have a little bit of an idea of what the Torah is all about. which makes a lot of sense, because after all, isn't Shabbos is the day to celebrate your relationship with Hashem, and the most obvious way and the most overt way to celebrate that relationship with Hashem is to celebrate your relationship of Torah. If you don't celebrate Torah, God and Torah are inseparable. If you're going to say God is here and Torah, I love God, but I'm not interested in learning in Torah, then you're a phony baloney. It's just not possible. It's not possible to say I love God, but I'm not interested in His Torah. It doesn't go. It's just saying I love you, dear, but I don't care one word you have to say in this house. I love my wife, but she doesn't make any decisions. I make every decision. I run the whole show. She is just a cook. Forget it. You don't know this woman at all. You don't know this woman at all. That's why, what do we have to do to prepare? One of the things we have to do to prepare for Shabbos is you have to, as I mentioned on Simchas Torah, one of the things you have to do is to go through the Torah portion with the Targum twice before Shabbos. Before Shabbos, how are you going to be ready to meet the Kala? Meet the Kala. You got to know the Torah that she had to say this week. The Kala had a lot to say. The Kala has been talking every day this week. One aliyah, another aliyah, another aliyah. Hashem says, it's very important for you to hear what I have to say. I'm sure most wives feel that way as well. It's very important what I have to say. And the truth is, women are given a bina yisera. Women are given a deeper type of intellectual wisdom, where they are able to extract one idea from another better than men. Men are stronger in chachma, in pure wisdom, and women are stronger in bina, what the implications of the wisdom are. The husband learns Gemara and the wife doesn't, but the wife takes what the husband's Gemara is all about and implements it in the house better than the husband could ever implement it. So obviously, if you want to come to Hashem on Shabbos, you've been away from your wife for a week, or you're gonna have your date night is Friday night. That's the time you want to be with your wife. If you don't think of your wife the whole week, then date night isn't going to be that exciting. If you've been anticipating meeting the wife for a week, you get excited about it. How do you get excited about it? Well, let me see some of the love letters she's written to me in the past. Right? That's what the Torah is. It's Hashem's message of love to the Jewish people. So every week, so that's on Sunday you read the first section, and on Monday the second section, Tuesday the next section. What else does my beloved have to say to me? Oh, this is amazing. Oh, look at the messages she's sending me in this week's Torah portion. Oh, I can't wait till I can reunite with my beloved. Right? So you got to come into Shabbos with a lot of Torah, coming into Shabbos and then on Shabbos. We do the whole parsha. Don't you find it on you? I mean, the whole parsha is read Shabbos morning. It's to hear more of what my beloved has to say. Right? So that's the tremendous connection, because that's really what it's all about. That's what it's all about. Torah is God's message of understanding reality on a deeper level. That's the kol. That's the voice of Hashem. It's not just you're looking at a world and you hear a lot of words and trying to understand what those words are all about. And that's what the Hasidic Rebbes all say, that the parsha of the week, if we understand it or not, is exactly paralleling what's happening during the week in the world, and gives you an insight into understanding what it's all about. You want to understand, why a president who has made no peace in the world got a peace prize? You go look in the Torah portion for that week, and you'll find out how such a crazy thing could happen. If you want to understand anything that's going on in the world of that week, and there's a lot of things going on, you can look at the Torah portion. Hashem already is explaining it all to you. The Torah is eternal, and if this week is Parshas Noach, then whatever's going on this week has to do with Parshas Noach, and that helps you adjust and understand how to live through this week. That's what the Torah is all about, and that's deep. That's kol. Now, you want to be able to have that. The same skill that it takes to understand Torah is the same skill it takes to understand your wife, to understand the kol of your wife, the depth of what she's saying, and to have that relationship with her. So they're inextricably bound up one with another. If you're always going to have the analogy of the wife, the analogy of Torah. Torah is my wife. Same idea. So therefore, back to this. I'll give you a longer answer than you bargained for, Mitch. But But the point is, so I'm looking for somebody who will benefit from having a wife and to have the kind of daughter that I have, which you see was very dedicated to Torah principles. It's a person who is able to understand a lot of Torah. So if you understand a lot of Torah, you'll understand how to be the right husband. And if you understand how to be, and it goes back and forth, and the tools needed to be the right husbands, the tool needed to be the person who could learn Torah and maintain Torah. So therefore they're very much connected, marriage and Torah, together with each other. Okay, good. That's a good answer. Now, back to your question that was off. Again, ask the question again, Sammy.
Well, what was the name of the city when the Jews came to it? Because it wasn't a Jewish city, so how could it be named?
It's called Devere. The city was called Devere.
Yeah, so why?
Okay. So what it means by Lefanim, as we explained yesterday, Lefanim doesn't only, as the English, mean beforehand. The English is going to say before, right? How's it translated? Before?
In early times it had been, that's what it says.
It had been called Kiryat Sefer, right? So what does it mean Lefanim, in early times? Yeah, it's talking about the spiritual root of that city. Because Lefanim comes the word panim. Panim means inside. In its inner depth, in its inner core, what is the real essence of the name of the city? When we say the name means what it really is. What is it really? Yeah, it's called Dvir. But what's it really in its depth is Kiryat Sefer. Meaning to say that this would be a city that only if we retrieve the 3,000 laws that were lost, that those laws of the book, of the Sefer of the book, they are the key to conquest of this city. And therefore it's mystical. You know, before any Canaanite named it Devere, that piece of real estate in God's eyes is all based on one thing. Can we retrieve these laws of Torah? And it was destined to be, as we will see in a moment, a big yeshiva. That's what it really was put on the planet for. What was this real estate in Israel, in the tribe of Yehuda? What did God care for this city to be? What is this real estate supposed to do to make the world a better place? When God created the world, He already allocated that piece of real estate. What has to be in Kiryat Sefer? It has to be a big yeshiva where people are learning Torah. Right now, there could be other cities that are about Torah too. Okay, but this was, and you'll see shortly how key this is. We're going to do the next piece that describes this. So therefore, it's root, lifnim, before, not what the Canaanites call it, what Hashem meant it to be, even though nobody knew what its name was. And then later, they understood, the Jewish people understood, we have to call this place Kiryat Sefer. We're not going to let it call Devere anymore. So it's Kiryat Sefer because it's a place that has to do with the learning of Torah. Okay, so now, the last piece to finish up this, I know, we thought we were going to go fast. I did 7 psukim in one shot.
It's going to go fast this way.
No,
but
it's still one more very important point that has to be discussed, and then we can move on, because it helps set the context for what's going to happen afterwards. So, the truth is, we could do the next pasuk. Because it fits in right into that. So now, Tezayin, pasuk Tezayin, and the Malbim asks, and I didn't speak out this part of the Malbim because I want to go through what the Parsha Specific and Nevi'im have to say about this, because it goes much further and beyond what the Malbim has to say. So let's look on pasuk Tezayin, even though there's a pei, which seems to show that that's the end of that little topic, but really not. And that's going to be the whole question. We're talking about the conquests of Yehuda, and really those conquests are going to continue in pasuk Yud Zayin and Yud Ches. We're going to discuss Yehuda's conquests through pasuk Chaf Aleph. We're in the middle of discussing all that. Now there seems to be a real non sequitur being put over here in pasuk Tezayin, which says, "Uvenech Kani," and the children of Kani, the descendants of Kani, person's name, who is he? Chosein Moshe, the father-in-law of Moshe. Again, that's one of the 7 names of Yisro. Jethro. So Yisro, but they're called Bnei Kani. Olu Meir Hatmorim. They ascended from the city of the date palms. Okay, what is the city of the date palms? So Rashi right away tells you, He Yericho. That is Jericho. There's a lot of date palms in Jericho. So it's Yericho. They came from Yericho. So they went up Es Bnei Yehuda with the children of Yehuda, and they came to Midbar Yehuda. into the desert of Yehuda, asher benegev Arad, which is in the desert of Arad. Remember, this is the southern part of Eretz Yisrael. A lot of desert there. Vayelech, they went. Vayeshev es-ha'ir, and they dwelled with the nation. That's it. And then we go on now. The next psukim is going to continue with Yehuda's battles of Kakbus and Oleh. So what does this have to do with anything? So good. So the descendants of Yisro, they came along to live in this place, to live with Bnei Yehuda. Doesn't know which Bnei Yehuda, in Midbar Yehuda, in the Negev of Arad, and they lived there with the nation. It's very mysterious what's going on over here. So there are a lot of questions over here. That's the first question. The second question, this is Yisro. Okay. Why he's called Cani, because Cani comes from root kine, which is jealous. He was jealous for God's honor. Also from the word kana, to acquire. Kana lo Torah, he acquired a lot of Torah. He was a convert. He was a convert from Midian. So the question is, it seems to say that the descendants of Yisro were living in the Jericho area, in the Jericho area. They were living there, and they moved from Jericho over here. So the question is, wait a minute, what's going on over here? They're converts. Converts do not get any inheritance in the land of Israel. The land of Israel, when the Jews came into Eretz Yisrael, were by the tribal affiliation. Every tribe was given land. A convert is unique. A convert does not have a tribe. A person converts. Okay, which tribe are you in? Well, who is your father? My father was a non-Jew. Okay, shkoyach. So you're converting. So where's my piece of land? You don't get any. So what do I do? That's your problem. I don't know if it's such a good idea to be a Jew. Then don't. Do you understand? That's part of the process. The whole idea of the process of conversion, this is just parenthetic, but I think this is a very important point. The process of conversion, as we've said in the past, a lot of people convert to Judaism. First of all, not a lot of people convert, but those who do, obviously, it's for intellectual reasons. It's for intellectual reasons. They understand that you speak to almost every convert. It's a sincere convert. You ask them, why do you want to become Jewish? Because it makes sense. Because it's a life of meaning. The life I'm leading was not with meaning. Those people give you all these mystical, it just feels right, all this kind of stuff. You get very concerned about those potential converts. Person says, listen, I understand. I was involved in the non-Jewish world, and it's crazy. It doesn't make any sense. It's so not fulfilling. Judaism makes sense. I want to be part of a religion that's a very noble, exciting, meaningful people. I think there has to be people with a destiny, etc. Makes a lot of sense. Well, that's a nice entry level, but that certainly is not acceptable as a final level. As we talked about with Avram Avinu, we talked about the 10 tests of Avraham, and Avram intellectually discovered God, which is wonderful, but Jews need more than just intellect. Intellect alone is not enough for conversion, and even any Jew, intellectually being a Jew, is not enough. What is the convert missing that he has to show that he has for us to have him become the final convert? He has to show he has faith in God. And faith in God means I accept what God says even though it doesn't make sense. That's a very important part of being a Jew. Humbling yourself, that as smart as you are, to know that Judaism is the most powerful religion in the world, and the only religion, the only reality, which is good and wonderful. But at the end of the day, bread and butter of the religion is you got to trust God. If you don't trust God, you get into all kinds of trouble. Correct? If you don't trust God, it's going to be a big problem. The relationship isn't going to take. So what do we do to test the convert that they trust God? We ask the convert to do things that are ridiculous. It's not only to dissuade them. The whole reason why we dissuade them is not just to want to make sure they're sincere, but to understand, do they have real belief in Hashem or not? So therefore, the questions they ask the convert right before a convert goes into the mikveh. It's after them through the whole process. The questions will vary, but they basically get to the point. Okay, you realize now that you're becoming a Jew that now all the non-Jews of the world will want to kill you. Do you understand? Do you understand now that your risk of being murdered and your blood flowing is infinitely greater than if you're a non-Jew? Becoming a Jew means you will more likely die at the hand of the sword than not. Do you want that? And then they'll, let's say to a lady who wants to convert who's in her 30s or 40s and say, do you realize it's not going to be easy to find a shidduch? And you realize there's a good chance you won't get married because you're becoming Jewish? And if you become non-Jewish, you could find anybody you want at any time? Don't come to us a year later saying, Rabbi, I'm having a lot of problems finding a shidduch. We'll try to help you, but there's no promises you're going to get one. You may live the rest of your life not married. Is this what you want, being a Jew? Because we can't change the rules later. Okay, that somehow has to get through before they go into the mikvah. Right? And that's the same thing as the 10 tests of Avram. Hashem tested Avram. You think you understand God? I'm going to teach you what God's all about. Go do things that are the opposite of what you think things should be. That means you got trust and faith in Hashem. So now, what is probably the best way to dissuade someone to convert to Judaism when we lived in an agricultural society in the land of Israel? Says, you want to convert? Fine. But when you convert, you should know you don't get a piece of land. So what does that mean? I can't, be like everybody else. I can't be a great land baron. Like everyone's got a chance to have land, and then I can, grow the land and make a lot of money and be a businessman and this and that and make my way in life. Then that's right. You don't get a piece of land. So then, how can I live as a Jew, as a person? Well, you have to believe in God, that God will take care of you, even though you don't have a piece of land. Oh, maybe not is such a good idea. And that's fine, because that means you really don't believe in God. You don't believe in Him, because if you believe who God really is, He can take care of you even if you don't have a piece of land, can't He? Just because you don't have a piece of land means you can't be taken care of? But how? That's your problem. Put your trust in Him, He'll find a way. Okay? See, do you understand? Do you understand? So and so you can understand why not too many Jews wanted to convert to Judaism. And that's fine, because they still didn't really believe in God. Yisro, on the other hand, he believed in God. He says, I want to convert. I want to be part of the Jewish people. He says, well, you're not going to get a piece of land. He says, that's fine. That's fine. So how are you going to live? Hashem will provide. I got no problems. So then he was accepted. But now, understand that's just all parenthetic. I thought it was a beautiful idea anyway. Just occurred to me. Hashem just gave me that little insight. But the real question is, so how did they take up a piece of land? How did they get the city of Yericho? It says they came from Yericho. What's this business? They get a piece of land? They can't get a piece of land in Yericho. Right? Converts are not to have, they'll never have a piece of land in Eretz Yisrael. Okay, that's question number 2. Right? First question is, this is a non sequitur. Question number 2 is how they have the piece of land. Question number 3 is, why did they leave their land? Let's say they had it, right? Why did they leave Yericho, the land of the date palms, to go into the desert? Right? Doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. And it says they lived with the people. What does that mean? They dwelt with the people over here, right? And what's this idea? It says Ubnei Keni Olu. They went up. Or when was this? When did this exactly happen? This story over here. So the truth is, Rashi explains it all. Rashi beautifully explains things, and with this we understand the whole issue over here. It goes like this. When Yeshua was dividing up the land of Eretz Yisrael, he did it through the Urim V'Tumim, through the divine intervention from the Kohen's breastplate, and everybody got their piece of land based on that. But one thing wasn't known exactly. What wasn't known? Exactly the precise place where the Beis HaMikdash would be built was not yet known, because God didn't want people to know yet. And therefore, what will eventually happen is all the tribes got their portions of land, but one tribe is going to be missing some land when the Beis Hamikdash is built, because it's going to be expropriated from them, because we need your piece of land for the Beis Hamikdash. Well, that's not going to be fair, because whoever's on that piece of land, where am I going to live? Right? Let's talk a good question. Where are you going to live? Well, let's go back to Yericho. Yericho is the ace in the hole. They conquered Yericho. What was the law of Yericho? Could people inhabit the city of Yericho? Do you remember from Book of Yeshua?
I didn't hear the question.
Were people allowed, when Jericho was captured,
Not allowed to live there.
people were not allowed to rebuild the city, and to not even the environs around it. You couldn't build it. So, but the godly plan ultimately was, the essence, the essential part where the walls fell down, you could never rebuild. But the area around it ultimately would be somebody's. Now, who do you think will ultimately get it? The tribe that got expropriated off of their land from the Beis Hamikdash would be compensated by getting that piece of land in Yericho. The Dushna Shel Yericho, that area, like the greater Yericho area, not exactly where the walls fell. Where the walls fell, nobody could rebuild it because you have to remember the miracle. But the area around it, that also was not meant to be inhabited, but eventually it was meant. Because some tribe is going to lose the real estate where the Beis Hamikdash is going to sit, which is not good. So Hashem has to compensate them. He compensates with the most beautiful land of all, which around Yericho. It's very lovely, lovely terrain around Yericho. Unfortunately, the Jews felt in their mind to give it away to the Arabs, right? But that's a beautiful. So that's a good. You have to, compensate somebody. What's a proper compensation? For Yerushalayim, the Beis Hamikdash specifically, there'll be that area. Okay, so it's called the Dushno Shel Yericho. That area, the lush area of Yericho, around Yericho, very lush area. So the question then was, okay, well, that creates another problem. The Beis Hamikdash is going to be built in how many years after the conquest of Yericho? 440 years later. It's a long time to leave a very, very lush piece of land unattended. Primarily why? Because if it's unattended, who is going to live there? The Canaanites. Not a good thing to have Canaanites live there for 440 years. And it was because the Canaanites are going to move in there. Who's going to make sure they're not living there? Canaanites are not supposed to live in the land of Israel. So in every tribal portion, the tribe had to throw out the Canaanites. But if Jericho doesn't belong to anybody, so nobody's going to take care of it. So the best way to make sure Canaanites don't live there is to build it up with Jews. I mean, we know that even today. Right? The best way to make sure no Arabs get into any place is have Jews live there. Right? Well, this was a well-known fact long ago. So, and Yericho, obviously a place the Canaanites were going to want to live in because it's beautiful. So therefore, let's get Jews in there right away. Who can we get to live in this spot for the next 440 years? Got any ideas? Who? The converts. The converts, they're not going to have any place to live. You understand how beautiful this is? It's like, well, it's unbelievable. Now, Yisro comes along and says, I want to be Jewish. He says, okay, fine. You want to be Jewish? You think because you're following as the leader, you're going to have any pull? You're going to have any, So tell me, by the way, are you going to go to Israel? Yeah, I'm going to Israel. Nice land. Yeah. Am I going to get a piece of land? No. Okay. Hold on, I'm not finished. That's the middle of the story, Shelley. Hang on. It's a good story. So now, can you imagine when Yisro and his descendants, they come along with the Jews, and can you imagine all this time, like, what's going to be, where are we going to live, it's terrible. And they see the land gets divided up, what's going to be, and during the 7 years of conquest, and 7 years of Israel, what's going to be. Hashem will take care of us. What do you mean Hashem's going to take care of us? We got no piece of land. So then, one day Yeshua calls them all in and says, guys, you probably were wondering where you're going to live. Yeah, what kind of crossed our mind, but we weren't worried because we know Hashem will take care of us. We left Midian where we had a lot of land. Hashem will take care of us. Says that he is. You're getting Yericho. The nicest land, not just the crummy land. Can you imagine? I would give a convert. I'll give him the yucky land, the poor real estate in the worst part of town. You got the nicest land. Really? Forever? No, not forever. For 440 years. For 440 years, which is pretty good. For most people, that's good enough. If I told you, the place you live, your descendants will live there for 440 years, that's not bad. But then what's going to be after the 440 years? Hashem will take care of you. Do you understand the beauty of this? You can understand what the convert has to go through. And that shows really who you really are. So that's what's happening. So they're living there in a place.
Well, why could they live in other parts of Eretz?
They can't. They're not entitled to have any land. They're not entitled to have any land. They don't get an inheritance. They're not one of the tribes. They're not a tribe. They're not a tribe. Do you understand? That's the Mesiras Nefesh, the self-sacrifice a convert has to make. You're never part of a tribe. The daughters could be. The daughters could marry into a tribe. The daughters will be in the tribe they marry into, but the men won't. And you're always known as converts, because where do you have real estate? I don't. Right? How you make a living? Hashem will provide. And he did. He did for 440 years. Yeah?
I thought Yitro, he was like Tzipora, she converted before Matan Torah, so she should not be a convert.
Tzipora, first of all, if you're saying Tzipora converted, she did, but not her father.
Right, but
not her father. So Tzipora married Moshe, so she went under the tribe of Levi. The women go under the tribe they marry into, but the men don't. Yisro converts. What tribe is he?
But he converted with her, no?
No. He converted later. But not. Tzipora was way before Matan Torah. Way before. Moshe was much younger. Way before. Long time before. When the Jews were still in Egypt, she converted. Yisro wasn't considering the issue till after they left Egypt, right? So that's what happened. And that is really what Moshe said to Yisro. When he said, I'm going to, he said initially, Moshe says, listen, come with us. When they were about to leave Sinai, they stayed at Sinai for a year. Now we're traveling. And Moshe thought they're going to go directly into Israel. He didn't know there's going to be a 39-year delay. So it says to Yisro, come with us, you convert already, and the good that Hashem will give us, we will give to you. Which means we're going to give you something good. Now Moshe himself may not have known what that was. Just God said, don't worry, tell him we'll take care of him. How? I don't know. We'll find out. So that is the good, you see. It's that area of Yericho was going to be open to anyone who converted, would get that area of Yericho. Right? So that's what they had. So now the question is, so that's what happened. They lived that way, and they lived there for 440 years. So you see again the tremendous faith they had. No, what's going to be in 440 years when it's time to give it up? He says, don't worry. Hashem will take care of us. So there's a tremendous amount of honor that Hashem is paying to these people by telling us exactly what happened with him. But what's interesting is, so indeed did this happen? Wait a minute. What did Yisro say? Yisro says, no, I'm not going with you. Remember what it says in the Chumash? I'm going back to my land of Midian. So it seems he didn't go with them, so then why should they have gotten the place of Yericho? So it's very interesting. The Medrash tells us something very beautiful. When Moshe asked Yisro to come along, Yisro said the following. He says, where does a candle benefit most? In a dark area or a place where the sun is shining? Or where the moon is shining? Where's a candle more beneficial? In the dark, right? So listen. It says, you, Moshe, you're the sun. You're light like the sun. Aaron, you're like the moon, which also gives off light. So what do you need my candle with you guys? I don't have anything to offer. I'm going to go back to my land, and I'll try to convert as many Midianites as possible, because there it's dark. And I'll use my candle to light up the world over there, and I'll bring them closer to God. So that's why he initially went. Now, did he always stay there? Obviously not, because this pasuk says the descendants of Cain, who were living in Yericho, they came and moved out to the desert of Arad. So obviously what happened was that Yisro spent a certain amount of time trying to convert the Midianites. We do not record that he was successful. And that's not important if he was successful or not. At least he told everybody why he did what he did. But then, we don't know exactly, but he did eventually rejoin the Jewish people, and his descendants did get this piece of land in Yericho. So these are truth seekers. So now we come to the final stage and the final point. So then what happened, so the greater scholars, now every tribe, this is already, Yisro's been around for a while now. He converted, this was already the first year after they left Egypt. So now we're at least 40 years in the desert, plus 28 years is 78 years. We already got 80 years over here. So there was probably a number of family members of this Canaanite family. And the Medrash says, it says, V'hatalmidim shebahem, the scholars of them left this place and I went to join Osniel ben Kenaz, who is also known as Yavetz. His name is also known as Yavetz, and they came there to study Torah with him. And this is really what the Torah is telling us, the Navi is telling us right now. In other words, these people were looking for perfection. They're looking to complete themselves. They want to be the best people they could be. So they understood leaving the non-Jewish world and joining the Jewish world is the first step to being that way. Even if we don't have a piece of land, that's good. But then Hashem even gave them a piece of land. And now they're living in Eretz Yisrael, which is an amazing thing. Now we can get closer to God. But that's not enough. It's not enough for them, they felt, to live in the Holy Land of Israel. The real perfection comes to the degree that we learn more Torah. So therefore we need a place that is the greatest Torah learning, the best yeshiva in Eretz Yisrael that is there. So the greater scholars of Yisroel's descendants said we want to go there. And we're going to find that. Who's the greatest scholar in the generation right now? Who brought back the 3,000 laws? It's Osniel ben Kenaz. Osniel ben Kenaz, who was called Osniel because Osniel from the word Anot, to answer. Hashem answered him. He was called Yavetz because Yavetz is a contraction word. Ya'atz, which means to give advice, and rebates is to spread Torah. So therefore, these converts said, you know what, it's wonderful we live in Eretz Yisrael, we're so happy and this and that and everything else. But guess what? The real perfection for us is going to happen when? When we go to the desert to join his yeshiva and become members of his yeshiva. Become members of his yeshiva. Now that's the next step of belief. Because, okay, all these people, they got at least a good 400 years till they got to move out. So what do I care? Like today, the generation now, the secular generation today, they're credit line over the head. And what's going to their kids? They don't even care. Live what we got to live. Enjoy our lives. What's going to be the next generation? We couldn't tell us. We'll deplete all the resources and everything. They don't care about the next generation. But to hear you, at least you get 400 years. So you'll die, everything will be fine. Your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren, you're already 400 years from now. But the fact, so you have a good life. Says, no, the best life is a life learning the Torah. So what they did was they moved away from the lush, opulent surroundings of Yericho to go into the dry desert of Arad, the Midbar Arad, which we see that Osniel's wife was complaining to the father, he gave us the land, it's so dry, it doesn't have any well springs. Even the one who conquered the land couldn't make a living on the land. So it's like going to a yeshiva where nobody can take care of you. So you see another point of the Mesiras Nefesh, the self-sacrifice of these converts who left now and made the next statement of Bitachon. How are you going to make a living now? Even now? Oh, Hashem will have to provide for us, won't he? And we'll conclude this story tomorrow, the last part, and see what ultimately happened with them. But now you begin to see the connection to the story. Because remember, the whole conquest was successful because of the Torah that was being learned. So now we're showing an example of a group who went